Hey, what's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist and today doing a Winged Dragon of Ra deck profile. So I'm really excited to do some for you guys because this deck is an extremely nostalgic deck that summons out one of the 3 Egyptian god cards. So without further ado, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell notification so you can become part of the notification squad, and definitely check out the Patreon down in the description below for all those awesome rewards. Like getting your name description in every single video, getting assigned cards in the mail, and even getting to request a deck profile every single month to your Patreon. So without further ado, let's get straight on into this. So first off, we're playing 2 copies of the Winged Dragon of Ra. This card is searchable, which is why we just play 2 copies of this card. This card is absolutely amazing. It is our main boss monster of the deck that requires 3 tributes to normal summon this card, and this card's normal summon cannot be negated. Also, when normal summon, other cards and effects cannot be activated. And when this card is normal summoned, you can pay life points, so you only have 100 life points left, and this card gains attack and defense equal to the amount of life points that you paid, which is absolutely amazing, because usually when you summon out this card with that effect alone, this card comes out as 7,900, which is absolutely broken. You can also pay 1,000 life points and then target 1 monster on the field and destroy that target, which is a really interesting effect. We then play 3 copies of the Winged Dragon of Ra Sphere Mode. Sphere Mode is really good as a 3-of in the deck to basically just tribute 3 of your opponent's monsters, hand them this card, and then we get this card back later and turn it into the Winged Dragon of Ra, coming out at 4,000 attack points and defense points, which is absolutely amazing. We then play a single copy of Immortal Phoenix. Immortal Phoenix is really good as a 1-of in the build because you can go through the entire cycle of Ra in this deck, starting with your copy of Sphere Mode, then turning into the Winged Dragon of Ra, and then Immortal Phoenix, which is absolutely amazing. But Immortal Phoenix is a great 1-of in the build. We then play 3 copies of Guardian Slime. Guardian Slime is really cool as a 3-of in the deck, so we can go in for a copy of Egyptian God Slime, but this card is a great defensive card in the deck. Also, if this card is sent from the hand or field to the graveyard, you can actually add a spell or trap card from your deck to your hand that specifically lists a card, the Winged Dragon of Ra, in its text, which is a great effect to instantly grab the exact card that you need. We then play a Horus engine in the deck, which we're going to start off with 3 copies of Seti. Seti is really good as a 3-of in the build to help you get to your copy of King Sarcophagus, and all of your monsters with your Horus engine share a common effect, and if you control King Sarcophagus, you can special summon these cards from the graveyard, which is super easy to put 3 of them out on your side of the field so that you can summon out your copy of the Winged Dragon of Ra. We then play a single copy of Happy. Happy's really good in the deck as a 1-of as well. We then play a single copy of Blessings of Horus. Blessings of Horus can get absolutely massive, as this card gains 1,200 attack and defense points for each Horus monster that you control, which is a great effect, and this card can get really big very quickly. You then play a single copy of Protection of Horus. Protection of Horus is another really good option in the deck to be able to play, as this just gives you an additional name in the deck to be able to send to the graveyard off your copy of King Sarcophagus. We then also play a single copy of Horus, the Black Flame Deity. This card is really good as a 1-of in the deck to be able to play. This card is super unique compared to the rest of your Horus cards because this card has the ability, if you control a Horus monster and King Sarcophagus, you can reveal this card in your hand, then send a card from your hand or field to the graveyard to send a card on the field to the graveyard, which is a really cool effect because it doesn't even target. And if a face-up Horus monster you control accept a copy of this card, or if face-up King Sarcophagus you control leaves the field by an opponent's card effect, you can special summon this card from your hand, then send all other monsters on the field to the graveyard, which is a great effect to be able to use. So that's it for the monsters, guys. Let's get into the spells. So for the spells, guys, we're going to start with a single copy of Monster Reborn. Monster Reborn is definitely a 1-of in the build to help you bring back your monsters to your side of the field. Plus, this card is great in the deck to help you summon out the Winged Dragon of Ra using Millennium Revelation. We then play a single copy of Millennium Revelation. Millennium Revelation is definitely a 1-of in the build because it works extremely well with your copy of Monster Reborn for your combos. We then play a single copy of Blaze Cannon. Blaze Cannon is really good as a 1-of in the build to be able to use with your copy of Ra to give it all sorts of bonus effects, with this card giving Ra 3 awesome effects. that it's unaffected by your opponent's card effects, and when it declares an attack involving this card, meaning your copy of Ra, you can tribute any number of other monsters that did not declare an attack this turn, and this card gains attack equal to the tributed monster's combined original attack until the end of the turn, basically making your copy of Ra absolutely massive by tributing your Horus monsters. And after damage calculation, if this card attacked, you can actually send all other monsters that your opponent controls to the graveyard, which is a great ability to be able to use to basically just get rid of your opponent's board. We then play 2 copies of the True Sun God. The True Sun God is really good as a 2-of in the build, but I feel like 2 is really all you need in the deck, as when this card is activated, you get to add the Winged Dragon of Ra or a card that mentions it from your deck to your hand, except another copy of this card. But the downside of this card is monsters except the Winged Dragon of Ra cannot attack the turn they are special summoned, meaning our copies of our Horus monsters cannot attack when this card's on your side of the field the turn they are special summoned, which is why I just played 2 copies of this card. This card also has the ability once per turn during the main phase, you can send this card from the field or the Winged Dragon of Ra Mortal Phoenix from your deck to the graveyard, and then send the Winged Dragon of Ra from the monster zone to the graveyard, which is going to help you summon out your copy of Immortal Phoenix, which is a really cool effect. We then play 3 copies of Ancient Chant. Ancient Chant is definitely a 3-of in the build. This card instantly adds the Winged Dragon of Ra from your deck or graveyard to your hand, and if you do, you can tribute summon during this turn in addition to your normal summoner set. If you're going to summon out your copy of Ra, it gives you an additional tribute summon, which is absolutely amazing, so you can summon out your copy of Ra extremely easily. You can also manage this card in the graveyard, and if you do tribute summon the Winged Dragon of Ra this turn, its original attack and defense become the combined original attack and defense of the monsters tributed for its summon, which if you're tributing your copy of your Horus monsters, which you usually are to summon out your copy of the Winged Dragon of Ra, it's going to be absolutely massive depending on the Horus monsters you actually tribute, which is absolutely amazing. Plus it's going to gain that 7,900 on top of whatever you tribute, because you're going to pay down to 100 life points to summon out your copy of Ra, making Ra massive. We then play 3 copies of the level 10 Draw spell. This card is really good in the deck as a 3-of, as this card is basically trade-in for level 10s, letting you draw 2 cards by sending a monsters that equal level 10 from your hand or face-up from field to the graveyard to let you draw 2, which is a really cool effect. We then play 3 copies of King Sarcophagus. King Sarcophagus is definitely a 3-of in the build, as Horus monsters you control cannot be destroyed by card effects that do not target them, and this card lets you send a card from your hand to the graveyard to send a Horus monster from your deck to the graveyard, which is a really cool effect that you can activate up to 4 times per turn to help you get all 4 of your different Horus names into the graveyard, which is absolutely amazing. This card also has the ability once per turn at the start of the damage step. If your Horus monster battles an opponent's monster, you can send that opponent's monster to the graveyard, which is a pretty cool ability as well. We then play 3 copies of Walls of the Imperial Tomb. Walls is really good in the deck as a 3-of to help you get to your copy of Mseti, because this card counts as King Sarcophagus while on the field, and during your main phase, you can add a Horus monster from your deck to your hand, which is going to help you get to your copy of Mseti, but then you place a card from your hand on the bottom of the deck. This card is absolutely amazing as a 3-of in the deck, and just helps you out a lot to help you get to your copy of Mseti. We then play 3 copies of Soul Crossing. Soul Crossing is really good to help you summon out your copy of Ra by basically just tributing 3 of your opponent's monsters, which is absolutely crazy to be able to do. And then we play 3 copies of Forbidden Droplets. Droplets is really good in this deck to basically half the attack points of your opponent's monsters, and also use this card to basically turn your opponent's field off. But in this deck, you want to get your Horus names into the graveyard, so if you open up multiple Horus names in your hand, you can use Forbidden Droplets to get them into the graveyard and basically turn your opponent's field off, then activate King Sarcophagus, bringing them back to your side of the field and tributing them to summon out your copy of Ra, and then swing into those monsters that have half attack points, which is really good. So that's it for the spells, guys. Let's get into the traps. So for the traps, we're just going to be playing a single trap, and that's going to be 1 copy of Cantopic Protector. This card is great as a 1-of in the build, but you only need a single copy of this card. This card has the effect that once per chain, when your opponent activates a card effect, you can special summon a Horus monster from your hand or your graveyard, but for the rest turn, you cannot special summon monsters with the same original name by the effect of Cantopic Protector. And if this card is sent from the hand or field to the graveyard, you can set this card but banish when it leaves the field, and you can only use the effect of this card once per turn. This card is absolutely amazing in the deck, but you only need a single copy in this particular build. So that's it for the main deck, guys. let's get into the extra deck. So for the extra deck, we're going to start with a single copy of the Zombie Vampire. His card is great as a one-of in the deck because it makes it so both players have to mill the top 4 cards of their deck to the graveyard, and once we do get to bring back a monster to our side of the field amongst those 8 cards that were sent to the graveyard, which is really good. And then my single copy of Galaxy Eyes Photon Lord. Galaxy Eyes Photon Lord is really good because this card is a walking negate. My single copy of Garunix Eternity. You guys know I had to put another Phoenix in the extra deck, but this card is really good. As this card is an XZ summon, you can destroy all other monsters on the field, and you also can detach a material from this card to be able to target a spell or trap on the field and destroy it. And if you do, this card gains 500 attack points, which is a pretty good effect to just board wipe the field, so you can summon out Raw and swing in for game. We then play a single copy of Coach King. Coach King is great if we're going to go first because it can help us draw 3 and also do 800 points of burn damage for every monster we draw, but we cannot declare an attack the turn we activate any of these effects, which is a little bit of a downside, but if you're going first, it's totally fine. We play a single copy of Dragubolon. Dragubolon is great to be able to summon out to your side of the field to help you OTK, so you can summon out either number 38 or your copy of number 100 to either get a spell negate or a 9,000 attack point boss monster to swing in for game. We play a single copy of Gustav Max because we do play level 10s in the deck to be able to do 2,000 points of burn damage to the opponent, which is really good to be able to make in this build. I'm playing a single copy of Zeus. Zeus is just a great board wipe since we're playing so many different XZs in the deck. One copy of Typhon. Typhon's a really good option in just about every single deck to be able to end games, especially if we're going second. One copy of Egyptian God Slime. Egyptian God Slime is great to be able to make because it can count as 1 to 3 tributes for a tribute summon, so you can use this card to summon out Raw as the entire tribute, which is absolutely crazy. I'm going to single copy of Underworld Goddess just to out towers like boss monsters. One copy of Appaloosa. Appaloosa is great to be able to make because you do put 4 monsters on the field with the form of your Horus monsters, so if you're going first, you can just make an Appaloosa for 4 negates if you need to, or if you're going second and your opponent has a towers like boss monster, you can use all 4 of your Horus monsters to make a copy of Underworld Goddess. And play a single copy of SP Little Knight, which could be changed out for Nightmare Unicorn if you want to spin cards off the field, but this card is a double interruption. If you have it, play it. If you don't, that's okay, change it out for Nightmare Unicorn. And for the final card, we're playing a single copy of IP Masquerena. Masquerena is great in the deck as a one-of to basically use this card to step into SP Little Knight or a copy of Underworld Goddess during the opponent's turn. So that's it for the deck, guys. I hope you enjoyed. This deck is super fun to be able to play. If you guys have never played a Winged Dragon of Raw deck before, you should definitely give this deck a try, especially with the Horus cards, because they're so good in this deck to basically just use them to tribute out your copy of the Winged Dragon of Raw. They do end games on their own, but it's amazing to be able to use them to be able to summon out the Winged Dragon of Raw. So that's gonna do this one, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell there so you can become part of the notification squad, and we'll see you guys in the next video. See you later, guys.